Oh, hello there. I'm Simon Rafe and welcome to Brown Bag Bible Study, the Bible study that you can do in your lunch break. Now, this is an introduction to Scripture, which will give you some information that you might not have known, and it will encourage you to read the Bible. But most importantly, it's presented in bite-sized pieces, perfect to fit in with today's busy lifestyles. Now, every week, I'll be concentrating on a small part of Scripture, either one of the 73 books of the Bible or a group of related books, and I'll bring you interesting facts and information to help you understand it. I'll also be including links to further reading, articles, books, and so forth, which will help you learn to love sacred Scripture even more. This week, the first book of Kings. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago when I discussed the books of Samuel, the books of Samuel and Kings were treated as a single group of 4 books in the Septuagint, and the books we know today as 1st and 2nd Kings were known as 3rd and 4th Kings. Now, this can be quite confusing, but I'll be using the modern names rather than the ancient ones. The 2 books of Kings, which, like the books of Samuel, are a single book in the Hebrew Scriptures, make up the final part of the Deuteronomic history. The theme of the narrative is the gradual decline of the monarchy from David through his son Solomon, the division of the kingdom following Solomon's death, and the final destruction of Jerusalem and the deportation to Babylon. The first book of Kings begins with the rise of Solomon to the kingship through the machinations of his mother and Nathan the prophet, and describes his rule. Solomon, despite losing some territory, rules over a very powerful and noble court filled with fine art and literature. However, his taking of many concubines and wives with their alien and false gods leads him falling into the worship of these gods and falling out of God's favour. Now, this is one of the 2 themes we as Catholics should concentrate on when we read the first portion of the Book of Kings. Solomon is enticed into the worship of false gods by his wives and concubines, even going so far as to construct places for their honour opposite Jerusalem. And of course, this is Solomon we are talking about, the rich, wealthy, incredibly wise and powerful king who builds the glorious temple to God. The lesson, I hope, is not too obvious, that even those who are powerful and wise and do great things for God can fall into evil practices and behaviours. Solomon's infidelity results in God promising that he will split the kingdom after his death and part will be given to others. The other theme is the role of Bathsheba, Solomon's mother, and this should also be considered. She is the queen mother, the mother of the king, and she is an advocate for her son prior to him being anointed king. The position of queen mother was a prominent one in the Davidic court, and Bathsheba is a type of Mary. As discussed last time, Jesus is the new David, and his mother is the queen mother of the new Davidic kingdom. This theme is one Catholics should definitely meditate on. But the main historical narrative is the gradual collapse and fall of the kingdom, thanks to Solomon's infidelity to God. 1 Kings continues after the death of Solomon, describing the splitting of the kingdom into 2 parts. The latter portions of the narrative are concerned with the prophet Elijah, who is a potent figure indeed. He tirelessly defends the worship of God against the more popular worship of Baal and performs many miracles indeed. This part of the Bible is very Old Testament in its style and scope, full of fire from the heavens and the dead being raised to life again. This is dramatic, but the theme and message we should take from this is the power and majesty of God used in defense of his people and used to encourage people to worship and love him. Now, that's all for this time. Do check out the additional reading to better understand the themes of 1 Kings. Next week, I'll be taking a look at the last of the books of the Deuteronomic history, 2 Kings. Until then, I'm Simon Rafe, and God bless. To learn more about the place of Scripture in the lives of Catholic Christians, I urge you to read Pope Benedict's Apostolic Exhortation Verbum Domini. The Pope encourages all Catholics to read, learn and love Scripture and to understand its relation to the Church. A link to this exhortation is included in the reading materials for every episode of Brown Bag Bible Study. Just click the link over there.